Welcome to Puck Talk CS. I'm Chives alongside my main man Steve-O, ready to talk all things Rangers hockey, setting the records on the road.
This really was a historic road trip. It really was. So let's jump right in. Let's talk some puck. I'd ask you how you're doing, but I'm assuming with the results we got in this past week, we're both doing mighty fine.
Yeah, up and down, up and down. I'm a Raiders fan, so not fine with that. You know, when Devontae Adams is number one trending on Twitter, that's not my favorite thing in the world. But hey, listen, Rangers hockey, they're 5-0, set the history books. First time they swept a five games on the road on a trip, and that's something that has never been done before by a team in the club's 97-year history. So great road trip, great response. They start 2-0. That was a drubbing against Nashville at MSG 2 weeks back now, a week and a half ago. They go on the road, set the record straight, and they're looking fantastic.
Especially to get booed off the ice at the end of that game.
Yeah.
There were boos raining down. I saw the videos at MSG. And when you get booed off like that, that was complete, and that was a quick turnaround too as well. And you gotta love it. You gotta love it. And there's a lot of few factors that I've seen throughout these 5 games on the road. So let's jump right in. I'll let you start off. Is there anything that you've seen from this team over the course of the 5 games that really stood out to you? Because I have a few things and really 2 in particular, that I've witnessed. And maybe one minor one. That's not really a big one, but I'll let you start off.
There was a lot to unpack. I mean, overall, there was a lot of goings on. One, they won in different ways. They steamrolled the Flames. They took advantage of a team without Connor McDavid and steamrolled the Oilers. They hang in with the Canucks, and then they win in overtime, and they just scraped that win out because they look tired against the Jets, but they scrape out a win. The other 2 things, goaltending is back. Shesterkin is back. He looks like Vezina caliber. John Quick, man. Wow, against the Kraken and the Oilers, phenomenal. The way Laviolette spoke in the post game against Nashville, it sounded like he'd only start 1 game on the trip. Starts him twice, rides the hot hand. He also did that with Artemi Panarin, double shifted him against Seattle. And look, he put up 2 goals. He's now second in the league in points. So I think those are the standouts to me. Steve-O, what was that other thing that stood out to you?
I want to make a comment there with your last comment. There was no jet lag.
No jet lag.
In that Winnipeg game. But I got to say, my number one thing is definitely the power play. Good teams take advantage of the power play. And when the Rangers needed it most, they got it on the power play. And you got to take advantage of all the opportunities that we get. And these last 5 games, the Rangers, I don't have the specific numbers in front of me, but I don't need the numbers in order to back up that the Rangers have been fantastic on the power play.
Yeah, and I think with the man advantage, what's nice, I even penned this for the Hockey News, like, it doesn't feel like it's their only source of hope anymore. For Gallant, the first, 2021, early 2021, 2022 season, it felt like they were pushing their way into contention, and a lot of it was driven through the power play. Right now, it just feels like they're good on the power play. They're playing really well on 5-on-5. They have a strong penalty kill. They have great play, like every format of they can play, they're doing well. And even with 3-on-3 overtime, they're playing well and taking advantage of their opportunities.
We kind of got a call there in that Vancouver game.
Yeah.
That game was that might be up there for one of the best when the year's over. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get some more thrillers like that.
Yeah.
But we got a call. I think Kreider tripped. Forgot who it was, but
Pedersen.
We stole a call there. Finally something going in our way.
Yeah.
Last 10 calls in the last 3 years were definitely not towards us.
And
there's a lot of notable moments that I can remember in even the last 2 years.
How about against the Jets?
Yeah. I'm thinking back to that Minnesota Wild game at home at the end of the game.
Oh yeah, the Ryan Strome game tie or Lundqvist night. Oh, killer.
We get robbed every time, but that's not the point. We finally get a call this way. We break out. And how about Panarin? Panarin in overtime. I mean, Panarin is electric. And again, we didn't doubt it. There's no doubt about that. Again, we all know what time Panarin's got to show up. But Panarin is just he is so good during the regular season. And he's electric. I think this is probably the best start he's had through a season in like his career.
It's his best as a Ranger. So I think it's his best by 2 points compared to last season, and it's his best in the 5 years he's been in New York. He's been in New York now longer than he was with Chicago and Columbus. So go figure, man. He's now I think when you look at his career, you're going to think of him as a New York Ranger. And the other thing you're going to think of is how he's turned it around. 33 shots on goal. He's shooting everything. Like in that Vancouver game, they go to Fox. Fox goes to 1T it, rolls off his stick, moves it to Zibanejad, tosses it over to Panarin, rips it, goal on the power play. Like you saw the way he took the shot because he saw the goaltender peeking over Kreider's like left when he should have been looking over his right. I mean, it's those small details. But you said we could expect it. And I know regular season you could, but no one expected that he's shooting the puck. And Adam Fox is too. He has 2 goals in the last 2 games. Or the last 3 games. So I think those two, the fact they're shooting the puck is changing a lot for the team.
Yeah, and they're getting good shots too.
Mhm.
One thing I like about this team, and I think you put a lot more of it on the coaching aspect this year, is that the Rangers are not forcing anything.
Mhm.
There's no forcing bad shots, forcing bad passes, playing sloppy in the neutral zone. The Rangers are getting quality chances. They're not trying to force something to make things happen. And that's what I like, especially when you're down 2-1 in that Jets game. And we're coming around to the final 10 minutes left in the third. The Rangers weren't forcing anything. They trusted that they were going to get the opportunity, and they did get the opportunity on the power play. And again, that goes back to my point on the power play. Good power plays take advantage, but not only that, they score when you need to. And getting that Kreider goal there, that's really all that put the cherry on the cake, even before the Rangers won the game for me, to kind of end this road trip.
Yeah, the road trip overall, a success. I'm going to look at 2 things, though, that are small, very small undercurrents, Steve-O.
That's it.
1, Filipino, 0 goals. Mika Zibanejad, 2 goals. Vincent Trocheck, 0 on the road trip, 1 goal on the season. Barclay Goodrow, Nick Bonino, 0 goals. Not that we're expecting goal production out of those 2. The other thing, Blake Wheeler, now pointless in 9 games. He's going on double digits. What can the Rangers benefit from if they get Kakko, Wheeler, and their centers going? Because I do think their offense has primarily come 5-on-5 from the second line. The third line's played well, but they're not producing on offense, right? Which we talked about. Okay. The first line has only produced, I think, 3 goals even strength. So really that second line is kind of generating a lot. The power plays as well. It's not a heel, and that's evident. They're playing very well, but your centers aren't scoring. Your offseason addition has not recorded a point. And Capo Kakko has 1 goal on the season. Talk to me about any of your thoughts among those 5 players.
Those are all great thoughts that you brought up. Let's discuss them. I'm trying to think a couple episodes ago, when did I say Judgment Day for Wheeler and then would come? I think I said the end of November.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a couple more weeks.
Because you're talking about Patty Kane.
True.
Yeah.
True. Listen, Chives. The way I see it is that, and it's different. It's different when you have the second line, like the way it's playing. You have Panarin going on. I don't want to call it historic, but let's go like improbable, like fantastic run here. I mean, that's gonna eliminate some of the the blurred lines on some of these I don't want to call them holes, but kind of what's not working. And I don't even want to call it what's not working. But it's not producing as much as you would like. And when that second line fizzles out, I think that we're gonna go back to the Wheelers. We're gonna go back to that Rangers first line, and we're gonna start mixing things up. But I think the question for Laviolette and this coaching staff is what do you do if 2 weeks from now Wheeler's got nothing on the board, Zibanejad gets a goal, the first line's not popping as much as you'd like, Trocheck's still slumping it up. It's tough to call it slumps though, because I don't think they're playing that bad.
I don't think they're playing bad.
Yeah, so I don't want to call it a slump, but actually, before I give my opinion, I'll let you chip in there.
All right, the team's 7-2-0. There's not a lot going on that's wrong. Okay. Right. Like they're the first team in the Metro Division. They actually have one more win than the Devils. Panarin is the second best player in the NHL right now. Like, there's not a lot going wrong for you right now. We just talked about goaltending. They're playing from the net out. Their defense is playing pretty well. They've had some games stolen by Shesterkin. They've had some games played where they played really good defense and just shut things down. They had games where their offense was on fire. The power play's on fire. The penalty kill's doing well. It's great. Good teams find ways to win. We've seen that 2014, 2015, 2022. They didn't win a playoff game the same way every single game. And teams like Carolina are suffering because it seems like they can only really win one way. Right? So, with that said, I do think it's not about the fact that the centers aren't scoring or that Kako and Wheeler aren't producing. It's Peter Laviolette stated with Chris Drury and the media present. Day one, what was this, June, July, the hire? He said, in-game adjustments. Well, now 10 games in, your lines are phenomenal. I like Cooley, Trocheck, Wheeler. I like the lines. But is it time you move Wheeler? Is it time you move Kako? Because I think Trocheck, Heedle's just snake bitten. Like, I don't think his lack of goal production, like he's hit 3 or 4 posts. I don't think that's bad luck. But I also think when you're 7-2-0, these are things that, hey, the Rangers maybe lose the next 1-2. It's going to immediately turn to where's Blake Wheeler? Where's Kako? And for the most part, like with your centers, where's Heedle? Where's Zibanejad? Where's Trocheck? Right? Like you're going to look to the players that aren't producing. So that's my take. But I want to know your thoughts on like, do you move Wheeler?
That's exactly what I wanted you to say.
Because his most prominent moment so far was the video they showed for the Winnipeg Jets.
That's exactly what I wanted you to say, and that's why I gave you the opportunity to talk. Listen, I'll say this before I tell you. We have done nothing wrong. I agree. You look at our losses. I mean, there's only 2 of them, but when you look at them, yeah, when that second line has gone quiet, the other lines haven't done anything. So I'm a big believer in you don't do anything until you need to. And right now, we won 5 games. We shouldn't be switching up anything.
Mm-hmm.
You could totally mess everything up. We have a little bit of a connection right now. Let's ride it in. We're going into a big game against Carolina. So
huge,
really is, because you want to keep the momentum up. Carolina wins this game. I think they tie us or jump ahead by 1 point.
Also, like first big game of the year, I think.
It's going to be probably the biggest test that we've had all year long. Because again, yeah, we played the Oilers, but no McDavid. They struggled. So, I mean, there really hasn't been a big team that we've played all season long. Nashville's not a big team, not at all. They kind of turned it around a little bit now after they beat us, and they rode a little bit of momentum after that win. But still, I don't consider Nashville, a top dog, in their conference. Seattle, you're very big on them on a decline. They really haven't shown anything this year. Vancouver's an interesting one. They've played a little bit well to start the season here, but even I don't see them as top competitors either. I don't see the Jets as top competitors. Arizona, Buffalo, Columbus. So I mean, you can ramble all through all our games. We haven't had that one team yet, and we're gonna get that one team in Carolina. But let's not jump there yet. We'll save that to the end of the episode. But going back to what I'm saying is, I don't think we should change anything. Not at this point, because again, we don't have to. We've gotten the results and everything in our favor so far. But if we're sitting here, and I said Judgment Day would come at the end of November.
Rapture.
I think at the end of November, if Trocheck still can't find the score sheet, Wheeler, and I want to see production out of that third line. Good teams in this league have really strong depth on their third line. And their third line really steps up and plays well. That's how you make the big jump or the next jump to where you want to be. So I think if we're sitting here in 2 weeks, and again, this is like a total up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen. But I'd go back to what I originally said before the season started. I'm moving Blake Wheeler up to that top line.
Oh, baby, there it is. I was waiting for it.
We gotta get him cooking. We gotta get him on the score sheet. I really think his potential is just, we've seen it, especially last year. We didn't have a bad year last year. So I think when he's with the right pieces, and again, we said that yes, he needs time to adjust because he's never been in a situation like this before, but he's never been in a situation like this before. So how do you expect him to adjust, to playing to something that he's not comfortable playing with? So if this is not panning out in 2 weeks, I'm moving Blake Wheeler up to that top line. I'm keeping line number 2 the same. We're just gonna move him up, and we're gonna see if he meshes well on that top line with Zibanejad and Kreider. So that's what I would say, and I would keep the rest of the line same. Fourth line's not going anywhere, and that second line is also not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think so.
They're dubbing them the French toast line.
I'm curious. I like that. I'm curious to see your reaction on that. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think when camp opened, Laviolette had Kako, Trocheck, and Goodrow, and people lost their mind online. But, I mean, listen, I don't know if we've ever seen Vincent Trocheck play with Kako. But I also could see how their games could mesh. Like, there comes a point where you can't really hold a pacifier anymore. And I think for Kako, like, he looked so good in the preseason. The predictions started rolling out 50, 60 points, question mark. And lo and behold, now suddenly Lafreniere and Hedl are balling out on the second line with Panarin. Like, those three were three of the most criticized players after the postseason. Hedl, Lafreniere, Panarin. They're doing their job right now. They're getting it done. Kako, that first line, it seemed like it was going to be a 1-2 punch, and they're playing extremely responsible hockey. You can't doubt how good they're playing. It's just the production side of things. And that's key in a game, like we mentioned, that's coming up. And I think, like you said, the last part I'll add is we talked about NFL today. You see how quickly the internet reacts. You see how quickly internally things change. And I think, yeah, Wheeler's not DA17, baby. He ain't Adams. But you look and you say, when is that switch going to flip? Like, I genuinely think it's going to take one game where if Wheeler gives up a puck or there's a takeaway and it leads to a goal or they're on the ice for 2 goals, I think the hammer is going to drop quick in New York. So I think it's a matter of time for the coaching staff to figure out, like, how do we get this player active? We're approaching upon the 10th game of the year. It's early, but it's not like after game 3, okay. After game 10, right? After game 11. So I do think they're going to have to make a decision quick. And I do like the idea of Kako and Wheeler flipping. Because then it seems like too much gets shifted around.
Me too. I like that idea too. Going back to the football thing real quick. Thank God the Rangers are playing well because you with the Raiders and me with the Giants. I mean, we really got nothing to move forward. Especially coming up, Raiders playing the Giants. It's gonna be the Turd Bowl.
Yeah, it started in the offseason too. Like, you turn on the TV and it was like, is Saquon and Jacobs gonna sign? And that was 3 weeks. Like, how come the two teams we're associated with gotta be? They're always in turmoil, you know.
Fonte's situation, not to very quickly, but his situation is so different. Like again, I think the play calling and the quarterback play, he's very different than a Blake Wheeler type situation.
It's almost like Panarin, like he chose to go there.
Agree. But jumping back over to the Rangers again, there's really nothing to worry about. Again, you really can't. I don't think even if we drop the next 2 games, I'm not sounding a panic alarm, and I don't think we'll be hitting the panic alarm anytime. But I do think, I'm calling it right here. If this team wants to go where it needs to be, the production from lines number 1 and line number 3 is not going to cut it as of right now. And I think we will definitely probably. I'm confident right now. I think we're going to have to add somebody. I hate that.
Oh,
woo! I'm not giving names. I mean, we talked about one prominent one that's sitting right there.
Oh, we could talk about him, but I got another one in mind. Oh, shoot, we're getting into early trade that TDL.
I'm not going to give you any names who we need right now because I don't think we can answer.
No.
But I'm confident we need pop to this team. This team could win games early on, but again, I don't want to. Respect to the opponents. I don't want to call them garbage, but I don't think we've played competition so far. But we played well. We played well.
No.
But
listen, Steve-O. Frank Vetrano. 8 goals in 8 games, 3.6 on the cap. They'll find a way. I think they'll find a way. But anyway, I digress. We're talking about production. We're talking about the present here and now. This Carolina game is going to be big, right? But the thing is, the Rangers lose 4-3. I'm not upset. Not upset. They're competing. They're playing well. Listen, they got a few days off. That's good. They looked like the trip caught up to them against the Jets, and I don't think the Jets were a team to write home about. But like you're saying, the games against Toronto, New Jersey, Carolina, healthy Edmonton, aka the healthy Connor McDavid. Even though, you know what? As much as we talk about the Oilers, man, they were nothing without him. It was very sad. Who'd you just mention?
Boston.
Boston, man, 7-0-1. What the hell is that? I thought they were gonna fall off and maybe not make the playoffs. It's playing teams like that are the measuring stick for me. You get to a point where 2 seasons ago, the Rangers played Boston. It was like right after Thanksgiving, the classic. Oh, the Rangers play the Bruins after Thanksgiving game every year. Reeves back checked and like stopped Bergeron on a scoring chance, like an open net. And that's when I believed in the team. I was like, if that's what you're getting out of Reeves, like he's shutting down Bergeron, like, and they won the Rangers won that game, like that's when I started to believe. But yeah, I think those are the measuring stick games, and we have one coming up. It's early, but this is a true test. And I think we saw that actually 2 seasons ago, too. The Rangers played the Devils when they just got Subban, they drafted Hughes, and they beat us in Jersey. And all those guys scored. Gusev, remember that guy? They're comparing him to Panarin. Lo and behold, that all kind of washed away. The Devils are good right now. But again, measuring stick games, they're going to be important. What's your take coming up? I mean, they have Carolina, and then again, they have like a handful of teams that are kind of middling.
What I want to see coming back home, and I also think that our second game this week against the Wild on Saturday, I think that's just that's an important game too. I don't know if it's just as important, but let's say we lose this game to Carolina, which we've played Carolina pretty well last year, so Carolina doesn't scare me in my opinion.
Yeah,
To me, the Devils scare me more than Carolina does.
I agree.
But Carolina, if we lose this game to Carolina, I think, how do we rebound from that? I think we're trying to eliminate a lot of them. We saw it so much last year, and both of us mentioned this on last week's episode, is this win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. We want to get rid of that. And I think that's what this team, if this team can eliminate that and stay consistent, and especially coming off tough losses. And I think up to this point, we've done a really good job of that this year. Not only that, but extending that momentum and taking it forward. We've done great at that. And in terms of Carolina, I want to stay competitive. I don't want to see no Columbus game that we saw. I don't want to see no Nashville game that we saw. Get that crap out of here.
Yeah.
I want to stay competitive against this team, and this team is not going to be easy. This is a complete team, and they hit you at all aspects on the ice. So I want to stay competitive. I want to see battles. I want to see if they score, I want to come back and get the next goal. That's what I want to see from this team, and I'm not worried. I'm really not. Again, there's no reason to hit the panic alarm. But of course, I want to see the Trocheks, the Wheelers. I want to see them get even Benino. I want to see them hit the score sheet. Let's get them maculated. I want to see that in terms of these. I'll put both games this week. That's what I want to see for Carolina and Minnesota.
Yeah, I think like you said too, players know their roles in this system. So what Chris Drew said opening press conference, May 2021. I want my guys when they go over the boards to know who they are, know their job. And you're seeing that. Jacob Trouba, I haven't seen a word about him. You know why? He's doing exactly what Jacob Trouba's been doing. Throwing the body, block. I mean, he leads the league in block shots, I think, or he's a league leader in block shots. I mean, I think he's the league leader. I think he's not leading the league in hits, but again, I digress. He's doing his job, right? Like Nick Bonino is doing his job. We talked about unsung hero. I mean, he continues to just block a number of shots in volume a night. The players on this team are doing their jobs. I think it's about, let's see, when they get tested, is there going to be a response? Are they going to take an early lead and be able to lock that down? it's seeing how they can adjust to those types of games, because I think still for the Rangers and their observers, fans, everything goes back to last postseason and leading up to that. Like, uh, if we're down, are we just going to be down? You know, when we're up, all right, so we blow this game out, but like, how are we going to respond next game? I think those things are still in your mind, and we're conditioned to, think that way based on the results from last season.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that I've seen this year compared to last year is that we're down. Let's say we're down 3-1. Last year with Galan, we were a little sloppy. We were trying to force things. Going back to that point of forcing things. This year we're calm. We're not forcing anything. We're waiting for opportunities, and we've been connecting. Whether it's been a power play, whether it's been a turnover, whether it's been a breakaway opportunity. I think we've been fantastic at that. So let's keep that up. I mean, I'm so happy with the way this team is playing. Coming off these first 7-ish games, so I've been happy.
We got speed, like Lafreniere Kako breakaways on turnovers in the neutral zone, structured play with great scaffolding created by Laviolette. You got players throwing the body, getting physically engaged, blocking shots like it's Tortorella's system, finishing, like you're saying, like tape to tape passes into the back of the net. You got Mr. Power Play goal on the deflections. The Rangers are really doing it all right now, and they have the goalkeepers to back them up.
Yeah, I give one example there. You just brought it up. Putting Kreider in front of that net. Just knowing your role and Rangers knowing that Kreider has the best in front presence in front of the net in the entire league. So knowing his role, getting him on there, and getting quality chances, and we again not forcing anything, and just knowing that we're gonna get that opportunity. When he's in front of the net and getting it in. So I'm not worried. I'm confident.
Confidence breeds success. That's what I gotta say, my man. Rangers are on a roll. They play Carolina on Thursday.
Minnesota on the weekend, and we'll be back at it next week to recap it. Hopefully, we're continuing the win streak. How long do you think we could get this to last?
I I didn't even think. You beat Carolina. Wow, 6-0, and then the latest victory is over a division rival that's like in that conversation of first in the division. That'd be huge.
Not even that, but you're taking the momentum from the road and then bringing it to home against one of the league's best.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say it better myself. That'll wrap us up here on Puck Talk CS. Please follow our Instagram at Puck Talk CS. Check out the website. And always remember, LGR, and it's just the luck of the puck.